So Digital Foundry has been quite the busy bees lately. They wrote an article and did a hands-on video with 10 Xbox One X games they got to play at Gamescom, as well as some time spent with Rise of the Tomb Raider, the Xbox One X version, and they have come away quite impressed with the hardware and the games. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video, and I figured I would expand upon my thoughts from yesterday's video about the Xbox pre-orders, where I mentioned Digital Foundry seemed to be quite excited with what Microsoft was showing off. So they got to play 10 Xbox One games at Gamescom that were running on the real hardware. They made sure to mention that all the cables were plugged in. There was hot air coming out of the system, unlike at E3, where none of the cables were plugged in, and the system itself wasn't blowing out any air. So they were playing on retail units, not debug units, and they were really impressed. So much so they also kind of feel that like Microsoft has lived up to the promise of 4K gaming. And you know what? Don't just take my word for it.
It was a game-changing presentation for us, I think, because we're getting the validation of the 4K claims. We're not seeing drops in performance in key titles like Titanfall 2 and Gears 4. Quantum Break was solid as well.
Yep, I think that's the key right there, is we got the same or better performance than the original versions, and almost all of them were at native 4K, and it did look good. So thus far, it does feel like they are living up to their claims of 4K resolution.
You see, it's that kind of enthusiasm from guys who know what they're talking about, the tech analysts at Digital Foundry, that get me even more excited about my future purchase of the Xbox One X. I want to see some games running at native 4K, which I've never seen. I do have a 4K TV, although maybe not the best one with the HDR and stuff. So I'm excited to finally get the system and get those great games on my TV on that Xbox. So to watch those two guys talk about their experiences, you know, they played Gears of War 4 and how amazing it looked. They played some Killer Instinct 2 that was running at native 4K 60 frames. Path of Exile, native 4K 60 frames. Titanfall 2 was running quite high. The only one that they said that really wasn't running at native 4K was Quantum Break, but it still looked fantastic. And then, of course, today, if you've been on Twitter, the comparison shots of Laura's face from Rise of the Tomb Raider, where you can clearly see that image looks better than the PS4 Pro version as well as the PC version. And they posted their their videos comparing the two, and just from the trailer, you can definitely tell, especially when they slow it down, that the Xbox One X version is better than the Pro version. Of course, that was to be expected because the X is a better system than the Pro. But it's nice to finally get to see it in motion. I almost feel that Digital Foundry is doing a better job promoting the Xbox One X than Microsoft themselves. I mean, I talked about Microsoft's Gamescom press conference, or not press conference, the live stream they had on Sunday. I wasn't impressed by anything I saw there. The only cool information was the stuff that Mike Ybarra gave us about being able to kind of prepare and download the 4K updates on your network before the system comes out, but most of it was just fluff. You know, what people want to see is the validation of their purchase. They want to see the comparison pictures and videos of a game running on the S and a game running on the X versus what it looks like on the Pro or the PC. That is what people want to see. People want to know, what am I getting for my $500? And I've been of the opinion that Microsoft has done very little to make that point to people. And for whatever reason, Digital Foundry, who I've always enjoyed their work, I'm not one of those people that call them Pony Foundry. I enjoy their work. When they say this is what what it's running at, resolution and frame rate wise, I'm like, cool, that's what it is. They know what they're talking about. I've always taken their word for what it is. I'm not one of those people that will upplay Digital Foundry one day and then downplay Digital Foundry the next. I like their stuff. I watch their videos. So watching Richard and the other guy talk about the system and how impressed they were with it, being the tech guys that they are, really came across to me a person who knows really nothing about tech, and I've always make, upfront about that in my videos, that I don't know anything about PCs. I don't know anything about really tech at all. I just like playing video games, but that their talk, they're excited, them being excited is contagious, because it makes me excited for the product that I'm going to get. And it made me wonder. Why Microsoft isn't doing more to highlight these issues, because people are running with the Rise of the Tomb Raider comparison vids. They're running with this video with their hands-on, how saying that Microsoft has basically fulfilled the promise of 4K gaming. Out of the 10 games that they were played, 9 of them were native 4K, while Quantum Break wasn't. I mean, that's exciting, and I'm excited because they're excited, because they're the enthusiasts. So it made me wonder, like I said, why isn't Microsoft doing more? Because I think more people could possibly be excited and be more willing to maybe consider dropping the money on an Xbox One X in the future. And maybe, they said in the vid, and they're probably right, they probably want to roll out coverage, right? You don't maybe want to hit it in August. Maybe you want to get it more towards September or October in the rollout to the system coming out in November, because the system sold out now, the Scorpio edition, right? The fanboys and the hardcore Xbox fans were going to get it day one, even though you have articles from every single major outlet saying, "Ooh, who's the Xbox One X for, dude?" Well, it's for the Xbox fans and for someone who wants the best console experience that doesn't want PC gaming. I think that's pretty obvious. So there's no reason, in that sense, to even start the comparison pictures just yet, right? Because you don't need to. But you're going to need to later on when they're opening up the pre-orders for the standard edition. And when those are going to be in stores, that's when they should roll it out more. And then I even got to thinking even more, is like, maybe the reason we haven't gotten these comparison pictures is because what are you going to compare it to? I can't see really Microsoft comparing their Xbox One X games to PS4 Pro games, because they're not going to promote Sony in any way. They would be comparison pictures from the Xbox One S to the Xbox One X. But then I got to thinking, what if they don't really want to do that very much, because it actually makes the S look bad by comparison. And don't forget, Microsoft has another system they have to sell, a system that they've come out and said will be the best-selling version of the Xbox. Phil said that countless times. The S will be the volume seller. And I'm sorry, if you put a picture or a video of a game on the S and the picture a video of that same game on the X, it's going to look bad for Xbox One S. So you're almost intentionally doing a disservice to your own product. Yeah, the X1 is going to be the best. It's $500, but you're also trying to sell this $250 machine, the one that's going to sell millions this holidays. But you're almost directly saying don't get it, because look at the disparity between the image qualities and the graphics in the picture. It's almost like a negative. It's almost like a net negative, because while you're promoting the X and it looks great, you're also at the same time, with those comparisons between the X and the S, you're saying, man, look how terrible the S is. So I think that's maybe why we haven't gotten this directly from Microsoft themselves, because maybe they haven't figured out the best way to compare something on the S and something on the X without making the Xbox One S itself look like a dated console that it is, because they're still trying to sell it, if you know what I'm saying. So I was thinking about that today, and it kind of makes sense to me. But either way, back to Digital Foundry. I want to see more from them. I want to see them get their hands on more games. And yeah, these are just older games. Gears of War 4, Halo Wars 2, Titanfall 2, Quantum Break, Killer Instinct, World of Tanks. Path of Exiles is a game that just came out, and F1's 2017 just came out. But those are older games, right? You'd expect those to be better. I'm kind of more interested in getting their hands on with, Wolfenstein and Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront on the X. I want to see how those games, the games right now, the new games, how that'll perform on the X. I'm really interested in seeing. But for now, man, watching Richard and his friend talk about the X in such a positive manner, how impressed they were, it filled me with hope. It filled me with, well, maybe hope is the wrong word. It just got me excited for the system I'm going to buy at the end of the year. And that's kind of my whole point. Digital Foundry seems to be doing a better job marketing the Xbox One X than Microsoft is at this moment in time, which is something to think about. But as for now, I just can't wait to consume more media. I want to learn more about the system. I want to see what more these games can do and what more the future games will be like. That's kind of the point I've been trying to, get across. But anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing for more content, as I do have it drop daily. And as always, thank you so much for watching the video. It does mean a lot to me. And with that, I'll see everybody in the next video. Later.